Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Morning Bulletin here on the Blood Red channel. Joining me this morning is Ben Bocsak, and we're, of course, going to start by discussing Romeo Lavia's decision to join Chelsea rather than Liverpool. Both clubs having an agreement in place with Southampton, but Lavia becomes, I think, the second central defensive midfielder in as many days to choose Chelsea over Liverpool. I mean, embarrassing, disappointing. What's the word you'd choose, Ben?
Both, all of them. I mean, everything really. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we were here on this stream talking to Arno van den Bill, Lavia's former coach, and he was lavishing so much praise, and we were all excited that he was going to come to Liverpool. And yeah, it didn't work out. I don't really blame him in the end for not choosing Liverpool because it seemed like Liverpool wanted him for months or weeks rather. And then suddenly they changed their tune and went in all in on Caicedo, and then went back to him as kind of like a second choice. And whereas Chelsea came out of nowhere, and they seemed like they wanted him as well. So I don't really blame him in that sense. Obviously, the kind of money that he's being offered at Chelsea is probably a lot higher than he would have been at Liverpool. The length of the contract is longer as well. So I think after Liverpool had gone in for Caicedo, I always thought, that there's no way Lavia would choose Liverpool now.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's probably alienated him quite a bit. I mean, in terms of reasons why you choose Chelsea over Liverpool, as you say, the wages being offered will definitely be higher than what Liverpool are offering. And like you say, when you look at the contract that Caicedo has been offered, I think it's 2031 with an option until 2032. Chelsea offering's paying probably 200 odd grand a week for 9 years. I don't think anybody can really turn that down, can they? And I mean, a lot of people would say they'd rather live in London than Liverpool. I'm not sure I'm one of those people, but I mean, I'm slightly biased. So you think it's sort of a culmination of all those things that led to him choosing Chelsea over Liverpool?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have to agree with you. Having lived in London before, I'd much rather be up north than in the south. So yeah, I mean, obviously, for players are different. Everyone is different. I think really though the main incentive right now, in terms of why he would choose Chelsea, is probably the financial aspects of it. I mean, you can't really say it on footballing wise. If that Chelsea are better than Liverpool, they finished a lot lower than Liverpool in the Premier League table. There's no European football on the cards. So yeah, I think in terms of the footballing sense, and then on top of that, with Lavia, he would probably be a starter at Liverpool, let's be honest. Whereas at Chelsea, maybe second, third choice, and he's going to have to prove himself there. Potentially, he could even be sent out on loan. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, who knows? So, from a footballing perspective, I think Liverpool would have been the better move. But from the financial side of it, obviously Chelsea can offer a lot better incentives for him to join.
Yeah, Barry there in the comments also bringing up something that I have seen reports about. Lavia's got a long-term relationship with the Chelsea director who negotiated the deal because he was the one that signed him when at City, moved to Southampton to sign him from City, and he's now the same director at Chelsea. I had seen a few things about that online pretty early on when it became clear we were going to be battling for him, and that was not a positive sign. Obviously, it's not turned out too well, but I mean, it was sort of panic stations before. I think it's definitely panic stations now, isn't it? I mean, who can Liverpool realistically go for now? Because it's so obvious that they do need a number 6. We know the money's there, but names being bandied about. Florentino Luis, Andre still. I think Amrabat's still kicking about. Nobody signed him yet. So yeah, as I say, we know the money is there. Can they afford to just stop at getting one centre mid in, or do they need to get in a couple, and do they need to get in a centre back as well?
I think it'll be interesting to see what Liverpool does now. Obviously, you mentioned those names. I think Cheek Dequare is probably another one to keep an eye on. Among a few others, there's still definitely options available. I mean, obviously, they're not as attractive as maybe someone like Caicedo, but Caicedo is one of a kind and is probably a generational talent. So there's not going to be a lot of players like Caicedo in the market. But I do think I wrote an article for Liverpool.com about this, and I think this could be a bit similar to the Jude Bellingham situation when, Liverpool missed out on Bellingham, but they brought in McAllister and Szoboszlai, and I think we're all happy with what happened there. I think this could give Liverpool a similar sort of opportunity rather than bringing in one player, bringing in a couple of players. Like you mentioned, the centre-back position is something I think that needs to be addressed a little bit. I think behind Konate and Van Dijk, I'm a bit skeptical whether it's enough there. So yeah, I think ultimately Liverpool still has a chance to come out as a winner from this situation, as strange and as probably deluded as that sounds right now. But there's still a lot of time left in the market, a lot of time to address things, a lot of players still available. So there's no need to be disappointed just yet. I think if we come to the end of the window and we're still in the same boat, then obviously that's a really, really, really disappointing transfer window for Liverpool. But right now, I think there's still time for Liverpool to redeem themselves.
Yeah, I appreciate the optimism, actually. I mean, it's a window that started so well, getting McAllister in for 35 million, and as you said, getting Szoboszlai in as well for the price, well, slightly less than it would have cost to get Bellingham in, really. I mean, if we sort of delve into what has gone wrong since then in terms of a structural level at the club, obviously we know Michael Edwards is no longer there. Ian Graham, who was head of data analysis, I think, also left last year. We know Jörg Schmadtke's only here for 1 year, but he's sort of shown a bit of an inability to get deals over the line where some negotiations are required. Szoboszlai and McAllister both done with release clauses, so there's obviously a lot less negotiating that needs to be done there. I mean, there's been lots of murmurs, ever since Michael Edwards left, and Ian Graham as well, about why they might have left. A lot talked about being because of Klopp's sort of increased control over the transfer department. Do you think that could be one of the sort of main issues behind the lack of efficiency in the market?
I think so. The changes are not helping. I do think it's kind of unfair to blame everything on Schmadtke. First of all, as the report suggests, he wasn't even involved in this deal. It was Billy Hogan, the Liverpool CEO, who seemingly negotiated the Caicedo deal. So I think people are being a little bit harsh, because Schmadtke's track record is actually pretty good when it comes to getting transfers over the line and getting good players for good value at Wolfsburg. And I think just maybe hasn't had the opportunity to do it yet at Liverpool. Obviously, I think the hierarchy in the boardroom is that no one really knows what's going on there, so that's not helping probably. But I wouldn't blame everything on Schmadtke. I think he's a smart man, and I think he can and has shown in the past he can negotiate good deals. For one reason or another, it just hasn't worked out. But like I said, he's still got time to redeem himself, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, I think my opinion will change if we come to the end of the transfer window and things are still the same.
Yeah, a lot of work still to be done in the transfer window. And a couple of links that we saw yesterday that were, probably thrown out just in reaction to being sort of pied off by Lavia and Caicedo. Links to Real Madrid pair Valverde and Tchouameni. We've seen plenty of links to these two before. I wanted to focus on Tchouameni first. It's sort of only really worth discussing these links to dismiss them, isn't it, really, Ben? The amount of times we've sort of signalled interest for Tchouameni and he's told us no. I saw a tweet yesterday saying he must be thinking about filing a restraining order against the club because we just don't seem to want to leave him alone, do we?
Yeah, that's the tweet I was going to mention as well. It just feels like, I think based on his liked tweets as well, he liked something about not wanting to go to Liverpool and that he's not for sale. So I think that made it pretty obvious that there's no chance of that happening. And yeah, he's a fantastic player, but clearly, the money that he's on at Real Madrid, the project that is going on at Real Madrid as well at the moment. I don't blame him for not wanting to leave. I think we can cross that one off the list. That's definitely not happening.
Yeah, he's at his dream club, isn't he? I think he made that very clear when he chose Real Madrid over Liverpool, and I don't think anybody can blame him for wanting to stay put. Like you say, it's a very exciting project they've got going there at the moment, sort of a bit of a rebuild. But I mean, Valverde is a slightly more interesting one, maybe, because we have seen pretty strong reports that Liverpool have made fairly high bids for him before, and they've still been told where to go. Do you think? I mean, we know that there's around £110 million hypothetically available. Do you think if Liverpool threw all of that at him, there might be even the slightest chance that they could pry him away from Real Madrid?
I mean, at that price point, Real Madrid would probably consider it. But I think I would, from a Liverpool perspective, I would be thinking, is that really the best way to spend that money? Like, don't get me wrong, Valverde is a great player. He's fantastic. I mean, obviously showed it in the Champions League final against us, just how good he is. But is he the kind of player that Liverpool needs at the moment? Because he's more of a box-to-box rather than a holding midfielder. So I don't think he would change Liverpool's situation too much. I think Liverpool would still pretty much be in the same box. They just have one more sort of elite box-to-box midfielder competing there with McAllister and Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. So I don't think it would change too much.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, hopefully Liverpool can do sort of what they did with the Jude Bellingham money and take it and invest it in two really good players. Obviously, maybe not of the level of McAllister and Szoboszlai, but hopefully in that central defensive midfield and in the centre-back positions. But it remains to be seen what they do with this this hypothetical £110 million. And we'll, of course, keep you updated across everything on the Blood Red channel as and when we hear it. But that is all we've got time for here on the Morning Bulletin today. So, Ben, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.